Today, we're taking a look at the top 25 vintage football card sales on eBay for December. In this list, it includes 4 different pre war football cards and 3 BVG 9.5s of iconic rookies. In fact, they're the top 3 selling cards this past month. So, with that in mind, let's take a look at this list. All right, let's look at some cards. So up first, no duplicates in this list, but autos or variants are okay. You'll notice that there's a few 1984 Topps cards that are going to be on here twice. Graded and raw cards are okay. There's going to be a raw Namath rookie a little bit later in the video, so that will make the list. And also, what I define as vintage football is 1986 or earlier. If you disagree, let me know down below in the comments, but that is how I built out these videos. Up first, we have Lynn Swan 1975 Topps rookie card. This sold for slightly over $2,000. Now, if you want to find a normal PSA 9 of this card, no auto, you're looking about $700. But there's only 19 of these signed. So I'm not sure if he doesn't do private signings or what, because he is still alive, at least from the research side of things. And this is a pretty expensive price for an autograph card, especially something from the 1970s. Up next, we have Mercury Morris, also from 1975 as well. I believe these are the only 275 football cards on the list this month. But this also sold over $2,000. It's a Pop 3 and a PSA 10. And just to show you the price difference between a 10 and lower grade, a PSA 8 recently sold for a whopping $12. All right, we have a 1966 Philadelphia. There's so many of these in this video, but we're going to start off with a Cardinals team card. It's a Pop 8 and a PSA 9. There's no 10s, which happens quite a bit in 1966 Philadelphia. The last 9 actually sold for $164 back in 2022 and $65 back in 2015. 9s don't sell that often, and someone's trying to build the set because they've paid up for quite a bit of cards this past month. Up next, we have a 1970 O.J. Simpson, $2,400. There's 347 of these that are signed at PSA. Obviously, there's going to be more that haven't been graded as of yet, but O.J. recently passed last year. And the going rate on this, it's about the same as a PSA 5, or PSA 8.5. So personally, I'd rather have the Auto 7 with a 10 autograph than an 8.5, but that's what the market is at right now. All right, our first Joe Namath, the 1968. And on this side of things, there's 56 PSA 9s out there, 5 PSA 10s. An 8 is about a $500 card. This one sold for $2,500. We're jumping into spot 20, a 1971 Mean Joe Green rookie card. This is an 8. I was surprised how many 8s out there. There's 272. But here's the thing, there's only 22 that are graded higher than this 8. If you want to find a 7, it's about $450. It jumps up quite a bit to that 8 grade where this one sold for $2,600. We're looking at a Jim Brown rookie. This was actually a very high sale. I'm looking at Jim Brown comps, and I know they've been all over a place since he passed away. The 6s right now are between 2 and 2.4K. This one sold for $2,750. It looks good left to right. I mean, it is off-centered, but you'll see that happen a lot with 58s. But it still seems there's a big chunk between top and bottom too. Kind of a puzzling sale. Obviously, the picture quality over here isn't the best, and also this starts with a 0. All right, we're jumping into number 18, another 66 Philadelphia football team card. We have the 49ers. The sold price is slightly under $3,000. It's a Pop 7 and a PSA 9. No 10s out there. The last 9 sold for $276 back in 2022 and $127 in 2019. Another card slightly under $3,000, Willis Crenshaw, 1966 Philly in a 9. It's a Pop 4 in a PSA 9 with no 10s out there. The last 9s sold for $405 as well as $548 all the way back in 2010. So it's been 15 years since the last sales, at least according to VCP. Number 16, we have a Terry Bradshaw rookie card, also in a PSA 8. Like the Mean Joe Green, there's about 400-ish. In 8, you have 458 over here. There's 47 graded higher for Bradshaw, including 3 PSA 10s. The sold price on this one was $33.50. At number 15, we have Billy Wilson in a PSA 10. This is a Pop 3 for 1959 Topps. I know there's quite a few set builders out there for 59 Topps. The last 10 of this sold for $532 back in 2017. So not an easy card to find for your registry. This one sold for $34.05. Number 14, our first of two 1981 Joe Montanas. This is a dual 9. You have the pen autograph on here as well as the 9 on the card. And what else surprises, there's 840 of these that are signed, and this is about double the price of a normal PSA 9. A PSA 9 with no autograph, about $2,000 give or take. So if you want to add that auto, extra $2,000. Number 13, we have a 1985 Dan Marino second year card. These black border cards are super, super tough. I was surprised that there's 41 graded 10s with these out there. This copy sold for $42.56, but if you want to go a little bit more affordable and get a PSA 9, you're looking about $100. Number 12, we have a 1933 Sports Kings of Jim Thorpe. Now, I was kind of puzzled with the grading on this card itself. While it looks really nice from far away, it almost appears as if there's a crease. You can look over here on the left side of the card, right? Looks like there's a crease right over there. I couldn't fully tell, but that is my assumption. This went for about the going rate of a PSA 4 copy, and this sold for about $4,500. Also, just to show you, the surface got a 3.5, centering and edges both got 8s and 7s, and corners got a 4.5. That is one of the interesting things about BVG and their subgrades. Although I know a lot of vintage collectors just focus primarily on PSA if you're doing set building, or SGC because you like the tuxedo. It's all over the place. Personally, I send a ton of stuff to SGC. All right, number 11 is a 1973 Franco Harris rookie card. This is a Pop 2 and a PSA 10, but there is 121 PSA 9s out there. A PSA 8 is around $600. This one sold slightly under $5,000. Now, before we jump into our top 10, like always, let's go over some honorable mentions. Up first, we have a John Elway 1984 Mint 9 with an autograph being a 10. There's 620 of these that are signed at PSA. Just any autograph on Elway in general. And this is about 4 to 5x the normal PSA 9 price when you add in the autograph. We have an 1894 Fred Murphy, one of the earliest football cards out there. We are going to see the first football card in a bit in this video, so make sure to stay tuned for that. I found this exact card sold for $830 back in 2020, so nice job doubling your money over that time period. And a 4.5 PSA, I believe, sold for $1,900 in 2020. I'm pretty sure it's PSA. I just didn't put it on the slide, so I do apologize. We have a Phil Simms 1980 Topps. This PSA 9 sells for about $100. A 10 is a Pop 32. This copy over here sold for $1,875. Another 1985 that features Dan Marino, but we have the addition of Joe Montana over here. This sold for $1,900. You can find a PSA 9 about $75, but this is actually scarcer to find in a PSA 10 grade. It's a Pop 25 in a PSA 10 compared to the other one, which was 40. But split cards and multiplayer, stuff like this, typically doesn't have as much fanfare as single cards, and that is why the other Dan Marino outsold it. We have a 1952 Paul Brown rookie card. This sold for slightly above the price of a PSA 8. And again, this is 1952 Bowman, so 8s aren't that common to find. And there's only 12 of these that are signed at PSA. This sold for slightly under $2,000. We have a 1966 Larry Wilson. It's a Pop 5 in a PSA 9, and like the other Phillies, no 10s out there. The last 9 sold for $492 in 2022, and then $1,197 in 2018. This copy over here sold for $1,935. Wayne Ramsu, I'm going to mispronounce it, and you guys are going to laugh at me. But anyways, it's a Pop 12 and a PSA 9 with no 10s out there. The last 9s sold for $104 in 2022 and then $64 in 2019. Man, those are some great margins. Whoever bought those and ended up selling. Dante Lavelli, we have 17 that are signed at PSA. This is a rookie card. And then there was another autograph that sold at Heritage in December. It also sold for about $2,000. So 2 of the 17 sold in 1 month, about the same price. All right, we have a 1933 Red Grange in a PSA 1.5. This is a higher 1.5 sale based off of recent comps. And a PSA 1 you can find about $1,300, but it does fluctuate quite a bit based off the eye appeal, right? Is the card wrinkled? Does it just have a little bit of paper loss? Does it have a pinhole? There's a lot of different things that could cause a card to be a 1 grade, which isn't always the best just to look at comps wise. And this one sold for $2,000. Gale Sayers, 1966 Philly, PSA 4 with an autograph of a 10, as well as 2 inscriptions associated with it. There's 102 of these that are signed at PSA, and this is about the going rate of a PSA 8 Sayers rookie. We also have a 1958 Topps Football Complete Set. This complete set is 132 cards, and for this listing, it mentioned that every single card is a 6+ grade. This sold for $65.99, which is actually a pretty good price, thinking about it, because the Jim Brown alone is what we said, about $2,500. So you're looking at $4,000 for 131 other cards. I'm curious really how that breaks down on the math side of things. Will we make more money selling all of them individually or as a set in general? Obviously, a lot more work than just putting it into slides into this video. But with that out of the way, now let's take a look at the top 10. So we're going to start off our top 10 with a 1984 Topps Dan Marino classic card over here, 51.96. There's 418 PSA 10s. Which kind of surprised me. I didn't expect that many. A PSA 9 is about $350. Now we have a Lawrence Taylor 1982 Topps, also in a PSA 10, sold for $58.50. A PSA 9 you can find about $360, which seems a bit low. I think when I was going to card shows all the time, it was like a $500 or $600 card, but I could be off. It's been a while. And it's a Pop 192 in a PSA 10 grade. 1959 Jim Brown with an autograph on here. Card is a near mint 8 with an auto being a 9, although that auto looks pretty great. I'm surprised it got the 9 grade on it. This sold for $6,100, which is slightly under the going rate of a PSA 9 copy. Personally, I'd prefer the autograph on the 8, but you know, some people want the 9. We have a Joe Namath. This was a raw sale for $65.44, which is higher than a PSA 6 price. Now, I didn't fully analyze this card, but that is really expensive to spend on a raw Joe Namath on eBay without even inspecting it in person. Also, non-variant, this is just your typical rookie. Sometimes you'll see the butterfly on the hand. Just wanted to call that out. All right, Gordon S. I'm not even going to butcher his last name on this side of things. It's a Pop 3 in a PSA 9. This one sold for $7,200. A PSA 8.5 sold for $576 in 2023. That is a huge gap for a half of a grade. Another Joe Montana. This time we're looking at a 9.5. A PSA 10 sells for about $40,000. And there was also a quad 9.5 that sold for $9,000 at Heritage. PSA 10, 1984, John Elway. This is a Pop 191. A PSA 9 is about $300. This sold slightly under $8,000. Harry Beecher, this is the first football card. Really nice looking 1.5. The last one sold for $57.60. There's a 3 that sold for $11,100. Also, I believe it was Huggins and Scott. Forgot to put the auction house on here. But a classic football card that not enough people are aware of. Jumping into our 2 spot, we have a 1986 Jerry Rice 9.5. Edges got a 9, but everything else is 9.5s. PSA 10 is about $65,000. The last BVG 9.5 did $6,000, but seeing the 9.5s, they range anywhere from like a little bit under $6,000 all the way through $10,000. Do you know what number 1 is? Well, let's take a look. And this is going to be a 1976 Walter Payton 9.5. No subgrades on the front. I didn't look over the back, so maybe there's subgrades there. A PSA 10 on this card is about $50,000. The last 2 9.5 sales that I saw were all the way back in 2021, where they sold for about $15,000 a piece. This one was slightly under 10 grand. Thanks guys for checking out this video. I'm going to put another football video on the screen right now if you want to continue watching. Thank you to our channel members. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe. We have this football series every single month here on the channel. Also open to room for improvement, so let me know. All right, see you guys.